Good morning, Philippines, and a good day all over the world. Welcome again to Women's World. This is Barlaan, your co-host from Elizabeth, New Jersey. Last week, we had so much inspiration from our previous guest, Dr. Greg and Mrs. Yuka Agulan. That was an amazing, enlightening, inspiring story, something that we could learn from. And this week, the last few days, we had very exciting events, and one of that is the birthday of our co-host, twin Marivir Montebon. So let's head over to her place in New York City. Twin, happy birthday. How are you?
Hello, Twin. Good evening. I'm okay. I'm fine. Thank you so much. And welcome everybody to Women's World. Thanks for greeting me, Twin. My birthday yesterday was very okay. I was inside the house, and same thing. When you're inside the house, you wake up late, and it's luxurious because you're not so pressured to wake up early and travel, go somewhere. So I had my prayers, and I had my burger and beer, and for some reason, I got suddenly so in grief because I miss Nikki. It's my first time to celebrate my birthday that
so
my only
sorry.
daughter
So
isn't
sorry to
around
hear
anymore.
that.
Yeah, so she for the information of everyone, she passed on um, to the higher life in November 2019. She's 27, and I miss her every day, but especially yesterday because
Oh,
she was
sorry about
always
that,
my first,
twin.
yes, always my first greeter and asking me what do you want, mom, for your birthday and all that. So I just suddenly I was preparing my food in the kitchen, and I ran back to my bedroom and cried. But I have my grateful heart for everything. So whatever life presents itself with faith, I face it. So I thank everyone who greeted me happy birthday, and truly I am grateful for your love, especially
Thank
Twin who made
you.
a poster for me. Thank you so
That's
much.
you and my daughter Lily.
Oh
You
yes,
have the same birthday, and I
she's
actually
eight. She's 8 years old,
she's
right?
nine. She's
Oh,
nine.
nine,
I
nine.
chose that date because of you, because it's your
Oh
birthday.
my,
So, yeah.
you're so special. You're so sweet. You were all
Mm-hmm.
concerned, and I'm happy and honored that we have the same birthday. Lily Rose is going to be a star on her own, of her own, eventually, with God's blessings, right?
That's what we
Okay, now
hope.
I'll turn you over to our co-host from our beloved Philippines in Bohol. Hello, Arceli. Where are you?
Hi, good morning from the Philippines. Hello, world.
Good morning.
Today, Miss Marivir, and of course, Lily.
Thank
You must
you.
be treading on the same path. I am looking forward of more success, and I'm
Thank
praying
you.
that you will be blessed abundantly and exceedingly, so you can continue serving others.
Thank
Right?
you.
Thank you very
So
much.
last week we've got a very good episode with Greg and Yuka. So we were learning so much from them. By the way, Greg
Mhm.
is Filipino and blessed in marriage to Yuka, who is a Japanese. So their married life is tested when Greg got infected with COVID-19.
Mhm.
So the learning there is that, I have noticed the peace in both of them. The overflowing love of Yuka to Greg actually survived, helped him survive, and that the peace of mind in Greg, like he was so composed that whatever can happen, it will just lead to something according to purpose, and that he was so strong, and he was even having the peace of mind, and like he was controlling his breathing. So these were some of the techniques being relayed to us, and many Filipinos now, especially in Bohol, are learning from that sharing of Yuka and Greg. So that was such a beautiful love story of them. Two people coming from different races who come to agree to be united in one family and serving one God through their children. And we want to hear more of such beautiful stories. And I think Miss Merle is getting ready with some testimonies this morning. So please
Right.
away, Miss Merle.
Yes, thank you very much. Indeed, their story, a couple from former enemy countries. You can never imagine, right, that they could build such a beautiful family together, and that inspires us, especially with the social climate we have right now in America and all over the world. So, from that story, we are gonna head over to another more inspiring story for this special guest that we have this evening. and her story is is beautiful, and I call it something that a love story that lights the dark path. She's going to talk about holistic way of healing racial divide from our heart, starting from our heart, more on individual level. How we can overcome this world crisis, starting from our heart, from our individual level. Maybe we didn't recognize that, we have that kind of discrimination in our hearts. But listening to her, we will learn a lot. So let me introduce to you. She is the founder and broadcaster of Buhay Buhay sa Amerika, and she is an awardee of the Commission on Filipino Overseas Migration and Advocacy and Media Awards in 2019, Best Regular Radio Program, and it was awarded to her in Manila. She is a nurse, and she is also the chairwoman of Women's Federation for World Peace, Arizona State, and she is also a breast cancer survivor. And her love story, she has a love story that is a formula that can heal a divided heart. And Arceli, you said the love of Yuka and Greg is colorblind. But for her, she said, there's a color to love. It's not red, it is black, and it's beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, please, without further ado, let us welcome the wonderful, the beautiful Miss Ria Luz.
Oh
Hi,
my
Ria.
God.
Hi,
Thank you
Ria.
so much, Merle. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be interviewed by Women's World and all the women who are behind you, all the way from Austria, the very first one in this broadcast. I am so impressed. And thank you so much, Esther. And it's so nice to meet you. And thank you, Araceli, and to our Miss Marivir. Thank you so much. And I hope that I will not disappoint you on this broadcast.
Of course not. Okay. Hi, Ree. So welcome once again. I'd like to shoot the first question to you. Please
Yes.
tell us about your love story, and when did you began dating, and what attracted you with your husband right now? I
Whoa.
mean, in the beginning, yeah. May we know his name, of course.
Thank you so much. Just your first question is already so juicy. Unfortunately, we did not meet. We didn't have a date. My husband and I, we were actually matched and married through our church. At the time, I was 25 years old, and I asked our church leader, Reverend and Mrs. Moon, to find a husband for me, because I believe that the international marriage is the way to create world peace. So I decided that is the way I will find my match. And so, as I told you, I never knew him. I never even met him. It took us 4 years before we finally can meet. So the love story, as I said, I believe that through international marriage, that's the way we can make this world a peaceful world. And I never thought, as you mentioned earlier, Esther and I were talking how we never want this color growing up, right? And the same with me. I always wish that, because being this color makes you feel like you're in the back all the time and not considered attractive or beautiful. So I never thought at that time we call it matching and blessing. We call marriage as blessing. And the way we met is through the matching. So at that time, I was expecting maybe God is going to give me someone who is lighter than me because I'm already dark. And never in my wildest dream that my faith will be tested. Because before this matching, I promised God, I will never reject anyone you give to me. I will accept anyone. But I never thought that I will get the one that I never expect. And I got a black man. That was a start.
So the intriguing thing for me, Ree, is like you did not meet for 4 years. So how were you corresponding? Through telephone calls?
No,
or
there's no
email?
There's no phone call at the time. We cannot afford the phone call. It's 85 cents a minute. And I was still in the Philippines, and he is in Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo. At the time, it's called Zaire. So we communicate by letter alone, and the letter will reach at least 3 months, one letter to reach to me.
So you were pen pals.
Yes, we become
that
pen
was what
pals.
it was called, right? You were pen pals. So
Yes.
you got attracted to him through letters, through how he corresponds to you?
I would say yes. I actually became attracted to him by the first letter, because
Imagine.
the first letter I was already in Korea. I received a picture of a man. I should have his picture. I received a picture of a man I never knew. And luckily at the time, I was in Korea. Our wedding was held at the 1988 Olympic Stadium in Seoul, Korea. 30,000 couples altogether. And the first letter I received from him says, since True Father said to True Mother, I am born to serve you. So he said, I am born to serve you. That was the first letter in French. I have to find someone to translate that letter. I think the translator was very good, because if did not translate it that well, I probably would say completely forget it. But because the translator said to me, that was the meaning of the letter. I was born to serve you. That was the one that kept me thought, this man is deep. This
So
man
you're
is
like, he swept off your feet with that word.
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, I'm excited. So what happened after that?
So we communicate. I finally accepted to receive this, go through with this wedding. And but before that, I tell you, there's so many things. Even though I accepted, and that is my initially, as I said, I think I shared to Merly. Initially, I actually say no, but my head said no. Why? Because that's what we believe. You know, your color is already black. Why would you even think of marrying another black guy? Because I already hate this color. Why would I even think of marrying somebody darker than me? That was my brain says. But my heart said, yes, you have to accept this, because this is what you promised to God. So at that night, at the time that I received that marriage match, I went home. I did not actually say yes initially. I went home, and I could not. When I went to sleep, I dreamed that I am drowning, and together with me is my family. The water is rising from my knee up to my thigh, and I can see my whole family is with me, and they are going to drown. So in my head, in my heart, I have to accept this person, because there is something so special with this matching, that if I will not accept, my whole family will suffer. So in my mind, I decided, this is actually, I have a one-to-one talk with God at the time. And I said to God, I will accept this person because you gave him to me. And I promise I will not say no. So since I have gave that promise to you, then I will take it, even though it may hurt me, and I will accept that. And as I said, even our life here on earth is temporary, but the eternity, I will not bear to the eternity if I will not, even if I suffer here, but I don't want to suffer for eternity. So that's why I accepted that match. So to make the story short, we finally get blessed. I am in Korea holding a picture of him, and he is in Africa holding my picture. And yes, and
so
we never
were
met.
physically together?
No, I was just holding his picture. And then he is in Africa holding my blessing picture. And later on, I came to America in 1993. That was in 92. Finally made it here in America in 93. And so many temptations came, but God was really in this match. There was no way God is God is holding to me so tight that after I came in 93, and 1996, I got my green card. I went to Africa even without, I quit my job. I went to Africa, and I said to myself, I need to meet this guy, because no matter what, this is the one that God has given to me. I went to Africa with only $360 in my pocket to stay there for almost 3 weeks. How can you live for 3 weeks with $360 in Africa? And I went there with just the faith, I want to meet the guy, because I know that if I lose him, I don't know what, I had to find it. I had to meet this guy. So as I was telling you before, I did not want my color. But meeting my husband in Africa made me realize a whole new meaning to being, what is beauty and what is true love. And to me, as I was just mentioning to Merly before, the first time my husband and I met and we consummate our wedding, and we call it 3-day ceremony, people are asking me, so now, do you know the color of God? And I said, yes, it's black.
So I will be very detailed now. Like when you first met him, did you immediately like him physically? Was it like a dream come true? Or tell us about it. It's like so
yes,
it's
that
very
is
thrilling.
that is the funny thing.
Yes.
To be honest with you, in the 4 years of communication, I actually did not like him. There was no love. It was
Okay.
it was just a pen pal. How can you be able to love someone without knowing this person? You just
So it was friendship.
Yes,
You
but
can say it's friendship. Mm-hmm.
yes, but the moment I met him and we start to communicate, then I start to say, I actually am in love with this person. That I tell you, we never communicate like for years. And I went to Africa for 3 weeks. I have to go back to America since I told you I have no job and I have to pay debts. So I decided to come back to America. And blessing came to me. I was able to get a job in 3 days as soon as I get back to America, and start the conversation now by phone. So before I never call him, we never talk in the phone, but that's how in love I became. I call him every night, even though it's 85 cents a minute.
All right.
So
Amazing.
yes, I fell in love with him after that.
So you were already married at that time, or were you still like a blessed couple? How is
That
that?
time, I would say we were married, but we never met. So, but
Okay.
after, we call in our church, the consummation of your marriage is after the 3-day ceremony, and that's the time you become a couple.
So when did he come to the U.S.?
I went back in Africa in 1990. That was in 96, first time, and then I really fell in love. I had to come back right away in 97. And
All right.
tell you, the in 1 year time that we were separated, I called him so many every night that I spent almost $10,000 on phone bills. So I went to Africa and said to the embassy, "This is not going to work. You have to give him a visa so he can come with me." And thanks God, he was able to come back with me in America in 97. And that's the time we started to become husband and wife in America. Because we only started 3 weeks.
That's a new journey. You will tell us about how you adjusted with each other considering different cultures.
Oh, yes.
Yes, and so, but I'd like to turn over the question to Arceli, who has a question. You have a question, Arceli, right? You're there, Arceli? Okay, question from Arceli, please.
Miss
We can hear
Tree,
you.
your story is so different, and I do not know how did you go over it. And I have been my boyfriend then used to court me for 4.5 years, and yet when we got married, we still have so many things that I do not know about him, and he doesn't know about me. So how did you reconcile things with a person who is totally foreign to you? And do you suggest to young ladies now and young boys to be taking same path as you did?
I would say, you know what? I would say yes, because to me, marriage is the best thing about the marriage that we had is we were able to keep our purity, and the marriage is meant only for the right person. So in a way, God really had protected me. I would say yes, why not? Because if God has really destined a man for you, there is no way that no distance is going to be a difference. And as you ask me, how do we reconcile our differences? I would say only prayer was the only way we were able to reconcile many things between us.
I have a question.
So you
Sorry,
must
I
have.
a question. It fascinates me. Your love story is it's not the ordinary. How about your children? I am curious about the product of this kind of preparation, the sincerity, this marriage. What is your family like? What is your children like?
Well, my children are, to me, they look like me, but they have more color of their dad. But they're not as dark as their dad. Uh, they are as shy as their dad. They are very camera shy. So, but they look like the features is me, but the color is dad.
How
But
many
to
are they
me,
and
I
what are
look
their
at them.
ages?
I have a
Ria.
21, a
Uh-huh.
17, and a 16-year-old. Yes.
Oh man, amazing. So how did you raise them? I mean, your husband, may we know his name? And how did you
His,
parent these three
his
children who
name
have,
is, I tell you, his first name is, Noel. I named him
well,
Noel.
how did you adjust? Like, for example, we have very, very, I suppose, different cultures, like as a Filipino, like, you know, we have peculiarities as Filipino, and I'm sure he has as a African. So how did you adjust? What were the things that you had a misconception and was changed while you were married, and vice
Uh,
versa? Tell us
uh,
something interesting or funny and how you resolved it.
well, I would say
Did you make him
my
eat
husband,
rice?
we both eat rice, so thanks God.
Okay.
And my
All
husband
right.
eats the food I cook, except he's not fond of pancit, but he
All
loves
right.
dinuguan.
Oh my God. Okay.
So the only thing that I think that's differences is I love taking picture. I love pictures a lot, but
Uh-huh.
he's very shy in taking picture. He never he's a camera shy, and to get
Okay.
one picture from him is very very hard. So that's the only differences. But the other thing, we're actually complementary. I talk too much, and he's talk less. He's very organized. I would say I'm not.
Okay.
But in a way, he compliments me.
Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
Araceli.
Arceli, you have a question.
Yeah, I cannot get over with the dating thing.
All
There are
right.
so
Okay.
many young people nowadays who are going into the dating sites. And how is your love story different from theirs? And probably there could be a secret to that. Why you are so confident despite the so many failing love just because they go through the dating sites. So this must not be a dating site, or I just do not know what was that. So please relate to us.
Well, ours is not really a dating site. The matching was because we believe that Reverend and Mrs. Moon knows exactly, uh, to me, they think of 7-year generation for us. It's the future that they look for, not the temporal happiness and joy of dating, but it is the love that will come from this very difficult path. I would say my path is not easy. I almost quit. I almost gave it up. But I believe God has really, really kept us together, because for both country that is very poor, for a Filipino to be able to meet someone from Africa, that is very hard. But God gave a way for me to meet him. God, actually, I was going to share that since I met my husband, there's so many things that came to me, a blessing. He became a blessing to me. Every little path was like coming to see him was a blessing to get to him. And so I was able to come to America. I was able to come to Africa and met so many other people. And as you were saying about the match, the dating thing, ours is a different way. It's not a dating of comfort, as I say. Ours was giving our life to something worth more than just life itself. As I tell you in the beginning, I think of the eternal things that even if I suffer, I actually wrote it down in a letter to God, that even if I suffer and go to Africa. I did not think of going to America at the time because I was still in Philippines. But the time I accepted the match, I wrote to God that I am willing to sacrifice to go to Africa and be a missionary in Africa, because maybe through that I will be able to give God some comfort that I follow Him. And following God's will for me is, if that is what can make God happy, I am willing to take that path. So that was my course, and I'm telling you that because I'm willing to live in Africa. I was willing to become a missionary in Africa at the time. But God has a different plan. God made me to come to America and never expect I will stay here. I was determined that if we need to go back to Africa, if God wants us to do, then I will be glad. And coming to Africa, I actually realized our misconception about Africa, how media portrays Africa as a very poor country, no water, people are no clothes, and people are living in a hut. And that is completely not true. When I first came to Africa, I was living in a house that has 12 bedrooms and running water and bathroom next to you. So it was not the Africa that I was expecting when I came to Africa. So I hope I answer your question.
I have a question, Ray.
Yes.
How did your parents and siblings accept your marriage to Noel? Was it a welcome development for your family? Tell
That's
us
a very
about it.
good question. That is one of the reasons why I said no, because I know that my family will not agree in the beginning, and I feel I wanted to make them happy. But I am so glad that my mom was able to acknowledge the moment my mom saw my first baby, even though she was like doubtful about how our marriage would be like. But the moment the kid came out, my daughter, she called my daughter Pretty, Miss Philippines. So she calls my firstborn Pretty. And she even think of her to become a Miss Philippines. So I think that was really cute.
Ate Rhea,
Yes.
we have a question here from Esther.
Yes.
She said, Ria, that is a wonderful love story you have. And really, it's God's will. And I know it must have been hard for both of you. Having a long distance love affair, I have lots of African friends here in Europe. And I noticed that men in Africa are dominant and the women is just a woman. My question is, how did you, or how did he accept that you as a woman has very strong personality? How did he accept you as a woman who has very strong personality?
I am so blessed because my husband is not the African dominant mentality. Yes, he's not the macho guy. He's a guy who is there to support me. And the best thing is my husband wants the best for me. And he's always on my back. Anything I do, he supported me. In fact, he wants me to rise up. He wants me to be better. And anything that I do, he supported me. First, as I said, you mentioned I became the chairwoman of the Women's Federation for World Peace. And his support allowed me to be one. And this radio show, the Buhay Buhay sa Amerika, I could not do this without the support of my husband. And I tell you, after I became I do this radio hosting in Arizona. We're the only radio show right now in Arizona. And so every event, you have to be there. You have to support the events in the community. That many times I could not be home. I come home 9 o'clock in the morning. I leave 9 o'clock and I come home at 10 or 11. Where can you find a husband who would be not angry when you come home? But he never say a word. He's always there supporting me. In fact, when I won the award in Philippines, even though it was only 3 days, he came with me to Philippines to even support it and to support me to receive the award. Sorry?
One of the advices in the Bible about marriage is do not be equally yoked to an unbeliever. So is it a common denominator in your case that you both believe in the same thing?
I believe you are so right, Araceli. And yes, we are from the same faith, and so that helps us a lot. And I'm so glad.
Thank you.
That is the kind of man I got.
So probably that is the number one secret to your compatibility.
Yes.
Could I read some of the beautiful, nice comments here before we wrap up? From Wilma Kondo from Japan, she said, "Wow, amazing testimony. Now my tears started flowing of being inspired, even if you are still talking. I wish that the whole world can hear this. Your heart is so beautiful. Your love story can teach the whole world to be united in love." And from CARP, the Young Men and Women organization in the Philippines and the whole world, they said, God really needs you and you are really chosen. Ria, God knows your loving heart and a victorious warrior woman of God. Um, to close, one last question. What is your advice to the young men and women and to the struggling husband and wife out there? You have overcame so many temptations, and what was it that made you overcome and still be happy and feeling fulfilled?
God. Only God was the reason why I was able to we kept our marriage and we stayed together without praying for him. He must have prayed so much for me. I prayed for him as well. That is the key that we have together is I pray for my husband. Whatever he plans, I pray for him that God will protect and bless his plans. And I believe he does the same way for me. And I think the prayer of both husband and wife is the most important bond we have for each other, as well as the key to a long-lasting marriage is prayer and trust one another and respecting one another. And to me, I think appreciating your husband or your spouse all the time, whatever it is that they have done to you, appreciate it in your heart and say it directly to your husband. As Reverend and Mrs. Moon said once, man gives love and the woman gives back duty. And I think that is the key. If each partner give love to one another, then we can all have love and duty together.
What with this social climate that we have in America right now, this racial tension? So you have this experience. So what can you advise based on your personal experience?
Well, I would say the only advice I could say is interracial marriage is the key to world peace. No matter what color you marry, you will learn to appreciate and love that country once you marry someone beyond your race. I did not mean you don't need to marry a Filipino or the people of your same race. Because even us among in the Philippines, we have differences. People from the south does not like the one in the north. So you have to love someone who is the one that is hard for you to love. And overcoming that love will create a beautiful tapestry of what God is going to give to you. You'll never know what God can give to you until you say, yes, I accept and I fully give my all. And that's
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Twin,
Yes.
you need you have something to someone to thank, right?
Oh my
Before we,
gosh. Yes. Thank you very much.
yeah.
But first, thanks to Ria for this very inspiring sharing of her love story and the message of love knows no color. Love is black.
Love is
Love is
black.
brown and black and all that. Thank you so much. We have learned a
and
lot. I've learned a
well,
lot.
I said
But
God is black.
God is black. Okay. Yes. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank my school, the Unification Theological Seminary, because I just graduated actually in last May. And I have not written any essay to really fully express my gratitude. Like I've been taking my master's in religious studies. What's a journalist doing in a seminary in Manhattan? But that is a very ironic question, but it has deepened me, and I'm so glad that I took this course because by our perspective of world peace is looking through the culture and history of different people, different religions, and by then we are able to bridge understanding. If Ria is able to bridge love and understanding through international marriage, my school, my graduate school has provided that, and I am so. At this point, I'd like to thank you, Twin, because you were the one who invited me to become an ambassador for peace. Remember that? That was the road that I had followed.
Yes.
And you know
You're
what?
the best
It has
ambassador for
deepened.
peace.
Right. And this was 2009. And it took me so many years to finally decide to take my master's. My bachelor course is psychology, but I am a practicing journalist. But learning about culture through history and the different histories of religion is very enriching and deepening for me. And I graduated with honors, and
Well,
thanks to the
congratulations.
inspiration of my teachers,
Yay.
I was admitted to the honor society, the Theta Alpha Kappa, which is the honor society for religious studies. And humbly I accept the award that the school afforded me, the highest award, which was the leadership award, which says that I have provided like leadership outside the school as far as social change is concerned. And so it was a surprise. We were not told who will win. And so I was like clapping to myself all alone in this bedroom. And I was like, oh, this is so strange. I won and I'm alone and I'm happy. But all the other, my family members were watching also online in California and Cebu. So it was heartwarming, and I appreciate it. And I love my teachers so much for this guidance. And so we will just have to do what we have to do to bridge towards each other through understanding and love. And so I salute my teachers in UTS, and congratulations, Ria, and for your love and happy marriage. And so that's my word for the night, Twin. Thank you so much for giving me the time. I almost forgot
Yes.
my UTS
Congratulations.
graduation. Yeah,
Congratulations, Twin. I'm so proud of you. We are so proud of you.
thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So it's been a rich conversation the world can learn from. And that's such a beautiful story and inspiring story. Our world today, not just America, but the whole world, young people could learn from. And God sent you to have this, give hope in these dark times, the world full of uncertainty. But then, you could go beyond that and say, hey, it's not so bad at all. Just go beyond the fence, go beyond the boundaries, the precepts that you have, and love like no limits, like God. And then you can actually, it's a beautiful world out there. I really love that. You said the color of God is black and the color of love is black. It's no longer, the new red is black. Oh, that's beautiful. So this is such a beautiful conversation. To close, I would like to read the Food for the Heart, and this time it's from Father Moon. Um, this is so beautiful. He said, once true love is perfected in the human world, what possible political, economic, cultural, or environmental problems could persist? In the world of true love, every problem can be solved. It is the world of freedom, peace, and happiness, replete with joy. It is the world of God's ideal. It is the world where joy and happiness are magnified infinitely and eternally, and where everyone has the right to equal position, equal participation, and equal inheritance. Such a beautiful words from our Father Moon. Thank you. So with that, I wish everyone a blessed week. And I want to thank Ateria. Thank you everyone for being here. My co-host Arceli and my twin Marivir. God bless everyone. Thank you.
Thank
From our
you.
hearts to yours, from the women's world to the whole world. God bless you all.
Good night, everyone.
Let's
Wave,
see.
wave. Thank you, Twin. Thank you, Arceli. Thank you, Ria.
Thank you.
Markdale, can we see everyone who's here? Bye.
Thank you
Thank
to
you.
our
Thank you,
back street
Miss
boys, back
Reem.
end
Thank you,
boys.
Backstreet
Mama.
Boys.
Mark and
Hello, my
Hello.
Wilma's
sisters.
here.
Ewan.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone who's
Thank
watching
you.
back Facebook Live.
Mm-hmm.
So beautiful. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
thank you so
Bye.